Thinking of moving to Colorado Springs, whether you're coming from California, Texas, the East Coast, or even just up the road in Denver, you probably want to know what it's really like to live here, not the fluffy brochure version. I'm Tulio Pena with the Pena team, and in this video, I'm giving you the real pros and cons of living in Colorado Springs. From a local who's lived here for 30 years, worked here my entire adult life, raised four children and a family here, and helped hundreds of people and families relocate here from all over the country. We're going to cover climate, cost of living, traffic, housing, outdoor life, and yes, even things like potholes and wind. So if you're considering Colorado Springs, stick around. This is the stuff I tell my own family. Number one, manageable size without crazy traffic. One of the biggest differences between Colorado Springs and other cities like Denver is size and traffic. Denver's metro area has over 3 million people. Colorado Springs, around 500,000, give or take. And while growing, it's still compact. You can get pretty much anywhere in the greater Colorado Springs metro area in about 30 to 35 minutes. When I say that, I mean like the east side of town to the west side of town, or the north side of town, like where Colorado Springs transitions into Monument, all the way down to Fountain Valley in about 30 to 35 minutes. I add those extra 5 minutes, for traffic. There's going to be some days that are a little bit heavier than others. But if you were to live in a larger town like Denver or Dallas or Los Angeles, you could spend hours getting across cities like that. So Colorado Springs is a lot more handy in that respect. And most people don't do that on a daily basis. Most people choose to live within about 15 to 20 minutes of the places they go to work. So from that standpoint, I like to call Colorado Springs a big small town. It has everything you need, but you can get from one side to the other in pretty short order. Let's move on to number two, sunshine and dry climate. Colorado Springs gets over 300 days of sunshine every year. And our arid climate means very little humidity. That sticky, sweaty summer air that you get in places like Texas or Florida or Georgia or the Midwest, even, you won't find that here. And yes, we get snow, but here the deal's quite different. Usually our snow melts within like 2 days. So when we get it, we know it's coming. And if you give it like a day or two, it's gone. It's not like living up north in Minnesota or upstate New York, where it can be, really long winters and very gray for most of the winter. We have a lot of days of sunlight here. It's actually why they put the Air Force Academy here so that the cadets can train year long, fly the gliders. You see the guys jumping out of airplanes and doing the whole parachute deal in the dead of winter here. So our days of sunlight are pretty incredible. Now, with that arid climate part of things, something that's a tip is it's always handy to have some chapstick on you. All right. And the other thing that's handy is to have a water bottle. Okay. You want to stay hydrated. It sneaks up on you as far as hydration goes. And it often comes in the form of you can get headaches and stuff like that if you don't stay hydrated. So keeping a water bottle with you and chapstick is a tip. And I recommend you get some for the kids too if you have children, because they'll always be bumming your chapstick off of you if you don't. So sunshine is pretty amazing here, and it's year long. Okay, we do get those days that can be gray and stuff like that, but they come and go. Sometimes you'll see all the seasons in a single day, but our days of sunlight in Colorado Springs are pretty spectacular. Number three, outdoor playground in your own backyard. That's the truth when it comes to Colorado Springs. You know, we have so much to look forward to for those of you that are relocating here. Living here means having immediate access to some of the most beautiful places in the country. In 20 minutes, you could be hiking in Garden of the Gods, um, which is like a red rock canyon. It's actually a city park here in Colorado Springs that you can walk through with trails. You can go horseback riding through it. You could do Segway tours through it. People go there for their wedding pictures. It's one of those places that's just so darn beautiful that when you live in Colorado Springs, I highly recommend that you check out Garden of the Gods. Okay, it's one of those places that's just people think that it's not even real. They'll see pictures of you at it and they'll think that that's a backdrop you got at some photo studio. But then there's other places as well that have national parks that are not far away at all. There's lakes that you can go fishing at, forests you can go camping or hunting at. There's obviously skiing and snowboarding that's just a couple of hours away. We can go to places like Breckenridge, Keystone, Arapahoe Basin, Monarch Mountain, Vail, Aspen. There's so many places you can get to with just within just a couple of hours of Colorado Springs. One can go fly fishing. They can go lake fishing. Okay. There's sledding opportunities in the wintertime. And then all these places that sound pretty awesome for the winter are also unbelievable in the fall when the leaves are changing colors. And in the summertime, to go and do hiking on the trails in the mountain, biking in these mountain areas. The ski areas have some trails that are open for mountain bikes, or people actually take their mountain bikes up the lifts and then ride down certain trails. So pretty neat things that you can do year round here. So it is a playground. Number four. This is kind of a funny one, but little to no bugs. Okay. I'm originally from Florida. I've been here for about 31 years now, but I came from a place that had bugs. It had roaches, it had mosquitoes and palmetto bugs, and all that type of stuff, stuff that would bite you, you know. Colorado Springs, because of how arid it is, we don't have much of that. Okay. It's very rare that you're going to be slapping your leg or your arm because of a mosquito biting you. Now, if you go to a lake or you're staying, say, like at a rental, a VRBO or something like that, by a river or a stream, yeah, you might have some of that action. But most of the towns in Colorado Springs aren't really near large bodies of water, and we don't have a lot of rain or precipitation because of that. You don't see a lot of the bugs. All right. I've lived here a long time. I have seen one roach, and it was because a family ended up bringing it in a movie truck with them. So kind of cool. Now we do have some, I'm not going to say we have no insects. There's some spiders and stuff like that, but they usually don't mess with you. You can spray your house and spray the perimeter of your house, the window wells and things like that to really control that. But very rare to see troublesome type of bugs like roaches or mosquitoes. And we don't have like scorpions or things like that, at least not in the metro areas that you would see. So that's kind of a cool thing to look forward to. Just don't have that here. All right. Number five, friendly, military rooted, and diverse community. Because we have five military installations, including Fort Carson, Peterson Air Force Base, uh, the Air Force Academy, we've got Schriever Air Force Base, and we've got Space Force here as well. We've got a lot of military representation. And with all of that, you'll see people, coming in from all over the country, and you'll see people from multiple countries. You'll see individuals, you'll see families, every ethnicity and socioeconomic groups as well. So the diversity is a wonderful and beautiful thing. And I also feel that having all of these military facilities here brings a considerable amount of job security to the area. Most of the folks that are within the military have tremendous job security. And there's also a lot of opportunities for ancillary and support businesses, entities, and many of them that bring some higher paying jobs as well, like aerospace and tech that supports the military. So having such a strong anchor of entities like the Army and the Air Force and the Space Force is a wonderful thing for a city such as Colorado Springs. And we really do appreciate our military families tremendously here. The cool thing also is the city does a lot of stuff for the military. There's often parades, there's pancake breakfast, there's all many businesses offer discounts to military families. So just a really thing to see that Colorado Springs honors the military very regularly. Okay, number six is our stunning views. We do have some tremendous views, and when people move to a certain place, often they get fixated on, I have to have a house with a view. And most people will take views off the rear of their home. Okay. A lot of people don't just sit on their front driveway looking out. You can, but in Colorado, people are more inclined to want views off the rear of their home. And this is attainable, but it does come with a cost. Okay. Having a view like that often means no house behind you or the homes behind you being lower than yours. And scoring of you like that may cost 30, 40, 50, $100,000 more than the same house without such a view. Now, the reality about views is that you can see the mountains every day, and you can see them when you walk to the mailbox. You see the mountains when you're driving to the grocery store. You see the mountains when you're driving to work. You see the mountains when you're going to pick up the kids from school or drop them off or taking the kids to sports. You literally see the mountains all the time. So having that view off the rear of the house might be something that you might get here wanting, but then change your mind saying, yeah, I see them all the time. It's cool to have that, but am I willing to pay that extra price? If you are, wonderful. If you're not, you really don't have to. Okay. So, but views are everywhere. Just know that. And if you want to pay for them, you can, but you really don't have to. All right. Now let's move on to some of the cons of living in Colorado Springs. Okay. Now, in the winter time, the days are shorter. We do have daylight savings here, but we're a little bit more north than much of the country. And as you go north in the country, you start to see a change in daylight. When the fall starts rolling around 3:30, 4:30 in the afternoon, you start to notice that the days are getting shorter. And then when you get into November, December, January, February, around 4 in the afternoon, the day is ending. Now, Colorado Springs is also arranged in a manner from a geography standpoint that our mountains are to the west, and our mountains are like a big wall. So the sun sets and goes behind the mountains earlier than if it was flat. Okay. So that being said, our days can be shorter and they are shorter in the winter. And that can kind of be a little bit of a bummer. All right. But if you're anything like me, you're busy. Life goes by faster than we all want it to. And before you know it, it's spring again. So, but days being shorter in the winter, it is what it is, just something to know. Okay. All right. Number two on my cons list, potholes and perpetual road work. Colorado Springs has grown fast and our roads show it. You'll find your share of potholes, orange cones, and constant construction. And because we use magnesium chloride and plows in the winter, the roads take a beating. All right. So the trucks that you may see in other states clearing the roads, we have those. Okay. But they also spray out a chemical primarily on the interstates. It's called magnesium chloride. And that stuff can be tough on the roads, and it can actually be tough on cars too. You want to wash your car pretty quick after you get those chemicals on it. And you'll drive through neighborhoods and not just see potholes, but you'll see ruts in neighborhoods, like lines that are zigzaggy that the city actually fills with this black stuff it's black sealant to fill it in. But when you drive through neighborhoods, you'll often feel it in your car, or you'll hear it when you're in your house with an open window, a car coming up the street going, doo, 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 doo. And that is a annoyance that happens here in Colorado Springs. Every few years, they come through the neighborhoods again and they fix the roads, right? But it's asphalt primarily, and it takes a beating with the expanding and the contracting of the weather, the cold, and when we do get moisture and moisture gets below the roads, the freezing and thawing has an effect on that asphalt, and it results often in potholes and what I call ruts. It can be annoying. You can get the city to come out. You can be a squeaky wheel and call them, write to them, and they eventually will come out, but it's not always as fast as you want to fix the ruts or the potholes on your street. That's a reality. Okay. And I'd rather you know it than not know it. Okay. Number three on my cons list is homeowner associations or metro districts and their fees. Some newer neighborhoods come with hefty HOA fees. And, it doesn't just have to be newer neighborhoods. Sometimes the older neighborhoods, especially in condominiums or townhome communities, have to spend more money to upkeep the neighborhoods. So, with that age of the neighborhood over time, that you do see raised HOA dues. Then there's metro districts, kind of like an HOA, feels like an HOA. Metro districts usually have some sort of municipality attached to who they are, like they're the entity that established the water supply for that area of town, that sub area, and because of that, they govern the water. They bill you for the water, and they might also be in control of the planning of the area, the park system, the trail system. Maybe there's a golf course in the area. And with that, they charge fees. Those fees are usually a lot like an HOA's fees, where yes, you get a certain amount of water for those fees every month, and you get access to the park system, maybe a fitness center, maybe a swimming pool. There's things that you get with it. Usually, if there's a golf course in a neighborhood, you're not required to join that golf course. You can, and you have maybe some discount if you live in the area and you're part of that district. But all those things are part of what you may see in a metro district as opposed to an HOA. Most of the newer communities have one or the other. Okay. And there's positive and negatives to those things also. But if one is completely against those type of neighborhoods, there's other types of neighborhoods that exist without them. But a lot of the new neighborhoods do fall into these requirements of being part of it. You can't get around it. If you live in that neighborhood, you're paying your HOA dues, your metro district dues, or you're really not going to be able to live in that area. Let's go on to number four on my cons list. And this has to do with our weather, and it's going to be really more something in the winter time. We have a thing called black ice. Okay, our roads are predominantly asphalt, which means they're black. And when we get precipitation in the wintertime and it gets packed or it's a sleety type and it gets cold enough that it freezes, you don't see it, and it looks just like a normal road, and you can find yourself sliding quite easily on it. And it doesn't matter if you have four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive, front-wheel drive. It's something that is tricky. So one of the biggest tips in that regard: drive slow. Leave that distance. Remember when you were in driving school and they said, leave this much space between you and the car in front of you? You really have to do that in Colorado Springs on snowy and icy type days. If you don't, you will see people who put the brakes on and slide right into the car in front of them, or hit a barrier or something like that, and damage their car. It can be a serious and bad thing. So you want to make sure that you do drive. Now, I do recommend four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, minimally front-wheel drive. Rear wheel drive, not the best thing for Colorado Springs. It's great if all you're going to do is drive that car in the summertime or the spring or early fall and kind of, if you have the ability to have a spare car and it's a car that is rear wheel drive. But hey, if you live in another part of the country and that's what you got, you might want to consider trading that out prior to coming here. Always smart to talk to your lender before you buy a car, before buying a house, though. Okay, so there's a big tip. North facing driveways, also. Okay, this is something I've lived here a long time and I've learned. I've learned from clients, I've learned from owning one once. And the sun does a certain thing when you live further north. The sun tracks in the southern sky in the winter time. So, because of that, your shadow, if you have a north facing house, is on your driveway for most of the day. And with that shadow, when you get snow, if you don't clear that snow quickly, like scooping it or using a snow blower, it can become ice really fast on your driveway. It's really more serious if you have a steep driveway. Okay. If you have a flat one, it still isn't great because it'll still turn to ice, but it's a little easier to contend with it. It's easier to scoop it. Okay. If you compress it with your car, you roll right out over it. You're going to make that ice form even faster. When you have a south, an east, or a west facing driveway, the sun helps you out a lot during the winter with melting it and even just evaporating it pretty quickly. So always best to scoop your driveway quickly if you're able to. But if you can't, you might want to think of avoiding that north facing house because of the ice that can form in the wintertime. So black ice and north facing driveways are a kind of a thing that, yeah, we have it. And you can't stop builders from building north facing houses. So just you need to know how to maintain one if you got one in the end. Number five on my cons list is winds of Colorado. You often will see winds in places like behind me where it's a little more open, but Colorado Springs can be windy. You think that Chicago is the windy city? Colorado can be windy. When you get to more open areas, particularly the eastern side of Colorado Springs, as you go to the east, it starts to look and feel a lot like Kansas when you get further away from the mountains. And the wind comes through, and wind can really be irritating. You might want to just go for a walk, or a walk with your dog, and you very well may change your mind because of the wind. Okay? Wind can also um, knock down fences. It can rip gates off of fences. So you want to make sure your fences are well constructed and well maintained. I have seen trampolines do a flipping thing where they're not anchored down well, and that can cause a lot of damage and it can injure people too. So, but there's some favorable parts of it. Out east, you will see wind turbines and things like that out on the prairie that generating power for the state for the electrical systems. But at the same time, wind for the most part can be pretty annoying. You're going to experience that more on the eastern side of Colorado Springs. So, like if you are Powers Boulevard runs north south, if you are to the east of Powers, you're going to get it even more so than if you are in town. So, just be prepared for the winds of Colorado. It's a real thing. One thing I think that's a positive of it, though, is it makes the weather change quickly. Okay. Usually doesn't linger for very long. And if we have some not so pretty weather, it blows it in and out fast. So there's a positive about it. Affordability issues for first time buyers. This is my con number six. Housing prices have risen dramatically since 2020. And while there's still more affordable homes here than, say, in Denver or Boulder, entry level buyers are struggling. We many need down payment assistance programs, and veterans are prevalent here. So veterans do have the ability, for the most part, to take advantage of VA loans with no money down. That means no down payment. Okay. There are still expenses when you buy a home as a veteran, but your down payment, which could be, say, 3.5% for someone who's a FHA, Federal Housing Authority, first time home buyer. Um, that's something as a veteran you don't have. Now, even for the first time home buyers who are going, say, Federal Housing Authority loan, FHA loan, there's ways and grant programs to get you into a house with very little down, like $1,000 down. So there's ways, but that doesn't change the prices of the homes. Okay, we're talking in that regard, it's down payment, but we're also talking about prices. Prices have climbed significantly here, and I would really like to see more affordable housing for our entry level buyers. So myself and my team have actually joined Board of Realtors in other towns like Pueblo, where it is a little more affordable than Colorado Springs. We do have a lot of Army families who the Army base is Fort Carson here. It's on the south end of town. It's not that far, relatively speaking, from Pueblo. It's about a 45-minute drive and it's all interstate. So we joined that Board of Realtors to be able to provide a supply of homes to our clients who are comfortable living on the south end of our county or have to work on the south end of the county, but need an option. Okay. So if you're comfortable making a little bit of a drive, there's options there. Okay. So, but affordability has become a challenge here, and that's just something that to be prepared for. And number seven, smaller lots. Okay. Smaller lots is a thing here in Colorado Springs where not everybody has like 12,000 or a square foot lot or a half acre or even a quarter acre. Okay. What is common here is about a 6,000 square foot lot. And nowadays you are seeing builders going even more vertical with their homes with like 3,000, 4,000 square foot lots. So that's just something to be aware of here in Colorado Springs. And there's not a whole lot you can do about that. You can spend more money to get a larger lot, or you can look around in different communities from 6,000 to 8,000 to 10,000 square foot lots. They exist, but just know that many of the newer neighborhoods, particularly in the areas that would be say more affordable, those ones are going to come with smaller lots to them. In closing, Colorado Springs, is it perfect? Nope. But it's a place where you can live, raise a family, build a community, enjoy life with a view. Absolutely. I love this city, and I also believe in giving people the full picture, because the more informed you are, the better your move will be. So if you're thinking about buying or selling or just want to ask a few questions, text, call, email, press the link below, and follow us. Follow us, and we're always here to answer your questions, and when the time is right, help you with that purchase. So hey, and if this video was helpful for you, make sure to follow, like, or subscribe, and I will keep bringing you more. My name is Tulio Pena, and this is Colorado Springs on the Move. We'll see you soon.